is one of my favorite dishes.
Really?
Chinese or otherwise, it's so satisfying, and it features tofu. So this is like the tofu dish for non-believers.
It kind of is, isn't
right?
it?
It's really intense and meaty, it's spicy, it's so savory, and the tofu acts as kind of a balance to all of that. So that's what we're gonna start with. We have soft tofu here, which most Americans I think are more comfortable with firm or extra firm tofu. It holds up on the grill or in a saute pan, you can get it really crispy, but the soft tofu is really, it's melty and creamy, and it's key for this dish.
It's almost like cheese in this dish.
It is almost, yeah, exactly. It's that really nice balance to all the other powerful components. So we're gonna start with the soft tofu here, and we're gonna cut it into 1/2-inch pieces. Soft tofu, you need to be a little bit careful with it while you're working with it, because it is so tender. So you just wanna push right through it like this.
Yeah, I noticed you're being very delicate.
You gotta be very delicate with your tofu. And then go right down the middle. It's very satisfying to cut tofu.
Yeah, 'cause
it's like
it's so
nothing
square.
else. Yeah, exactly. You can make it very uniform. I'm gonna transfer this over to a bowl here. We love the fact that it's nice and creamy and soft in this dish, but it can have a tendency to break down as you're stirring it around, because it's a braise. So we're actually gonna do a step that's pre-cooking it a little bit. Very gently, it's gonna help firm it up. So to do that, I have 2 cups of chicken broth.
Ah, the first step to non-tofu lovers. Add a little chicken broth.
There are so many meaty ingredients that are going into this, it's gonna blow your mind. So that's that, and then we're also gonna add in 12 whole scallions that we're gonna cut up. We're gonna use the entire scallion. It's a really nice technique, is we're actually gonna smash the white parts a little bit, kind of tenderize them so everything eats the same.
Yeah, I've actually never done this.
It's a cool technique, so you just kind of use the side of your knife, smash them down a little bit, and so we're gonna bring out a lot of that flavor, and then we're just gonna cut them into 1-inch pieces. Helps to have a really big hand to cut this one. So I'm just gonna cover this up, and we're gonna go into the microwave 5 to 7 minutes, just until it's nice and steaming and hot. So this is microwaved for about 7 minutes, and it's nice and steamy. Yeah,
Take a peek?
absolutely, you should take a smell.
Ooh.
And so the tofu's just firmed up a little bit. It's still gonna be nice and creamy, but it's not gonna fall apart when we put it in the braise. We're gonna let this sit while we work on our spice paste. And this is not just spicy, it's super meaty, super intense, and there's some really fun ingredients in here. So we're gonna start with one of the most unique ingredients that you get to work with in the kitchen, Sichuan peppercorns. Peppercorns is not a great name for them because they're not spicy, they're really numbing.
Very strange.
Very, very strange, but they work so well with the spicy components of the dish. So I toasted these in the microwave for just 30 seconds. They get really aromatic.
Oh, wow.
And then they get a little bit crunchier, so they're easy to grind.
So you can toast things in the microwave.
Absolutely. I'm gonna put this into a spice grinder here, and I like to shake it while I'm doing it, because it's fun, but also because it helps get everything ground up really nicely. All right, great. So I'm just gonna transfer this back to the bowl. We've got about a tablespoon here. Let's get into the spice paste. Very excited. We're gonna use our food processor to make it really simple. So we're gonna start with 9 cloves of garlic.
Just a few.
Just a few cloves of garlic. So those are gonna go in. Next up is another really interesting ingredient, and it's called broad bean chili paste. Now, broad beans is another term for fava beans. So if you've had fava beans, they're in here, along with soybeans and chilies, and it's left to ferment for a long time. And we all know that fermentation produces really intense flavor. We're gonna use 1/3 cup of that. Next up, we have our good friend ginger. Right, so this is a 3-inch piece of ginger that we just cut into coins. The next unusual ingredient, you know what these are?
They look like bugs, but I actually know them to be fermented black beans.
That's right, they are, and they're really, really flavorful. I think the best way to think of them is like little concentrated nuggets of soy sauce, right? So soy sauce is made from soybeans. These are soybeans that are salted and left to ferment, and they get that crazy umami flavor. Really, really savory. A little goes a long way. We're gonna use a tablespoon. We're gonna start with these ingredients, and we're gonna grind them in here and just get this to a coarse paste. It takes about 2 minutes. Okay, so we've broken it down some. We're gonna do a little bit more grinding. Smell
Excuse
that?
me, yeah. You can really, it's very potent with that broad bean paste and those fermented black beans and all that raw ginger and garlic.
And it's gonna add a ton of flavor to the dish. So next up, we're gonna add 1/4 cup of oil. This is just regular vegetable oil. Next is a tablespoon of Sichuan chili powder, which sounds crazy, right?
It sounds
really spicy.
really spicy.
So the interesting thing is it's not that spicy considering how spicy Sichuan food often is. This is a lot like Korean chili powder if you've ever used that, and that's a fine substitute for it. So it's a lot of fruitiness and a lot of good pepper flavor, but not tons of heat.
Every flavor you put into that food processor packs a punch.
Yes. So next up, we have our Sichuan peppercorns that we ground up. I'm gonna use a teaspoon of them right here. I'm gonna save the other 2 teaspoons for later. So we're gonna process this again now. We want it to be nice and smooth. It takes about 1 to 2 minutes. All right, that's looking good. Now we're gonna transfer this over to a bowl.
Well, it smells really good. I kind of just want to put it on some crackers.
I would do that with you, I absolutely would. That's really all of our prep, but I've got a surprise ingredient for you. And I don't think you saw it coming, and it's beef.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best part of making a tofu dish is when you can add a little beef.
Right, and I think this is what really transforms this dish. People think tofu, I'm not gonna like it, but there is some beef in it. It's not a lot, there's only 8 ounces, but it's really there for some texture and some flavor. It's not the star of the dish. The tofu is still the star. So we're gonna start with a tablespoon of oil in this large saucepan here. We're gonna go right in and put this over medium heat. So we're using 85% ground beef here. I've done this with lamb. You can also use ground pork. It's kind of a free-for-all.
Ooh, I like the idea that you can swap in different meats.
Yeah. I'm just gonna break this up with this wooden spoon here. We're gonna cook it until it just starts to brown, which takes about 5 to 7 minutes. So this has been about 7 minutes. We started in a cold pan, so it takes a little while to come up, but we've rendered some fat. You can see we get a little bit of browning. So this is ready to go. We're gonna just scrape it up, leave a little fund in the bottom there. We're gonna transfer this back to the bowl.
Now you're using the same bowl that the raw meat was in. That's okay here?
That's okay, because it's gonna go back into the pot and continue heating up and cooking. We're gonna add another tablespoon of oil, put this back on medium heat, and now,
ooh,
our precious
waiting for this.
paste. Yes, if it smelled good before, it's really gonna smell good once we get it in there. I'm gonna kind of scrape up some of that fond in there. Like a lot of curry paste, it's gonna start to break. Like you're gonna see the oil break out from the rest of the stuff, and it's gonna get a nice dark color, and that's gonna tell us when it's done. So this will take about 2 to 3 minutes to get to the right stage.
Yeah, now you can really see that the oil has separated out of that paste, and it's a very dark, spicy color.
Yeah, and so that red color is a good indicator that we've also got a lot of flavor in it, right? So a lot of those fat-soluble chilies and all that stuff, the pigments come out at the same time as the flavor. So that's a really good sign. That looks great. All right, so now it's time to add our tofu.
How are you gonna get that big old bowl into this little old pan?
That's a great question. I'm actually gonna have you help me. If you just,
I get to do something.
Yes, you do. So if you just
I'll
give it
hold
a
it.
tilt, and I can just
Yeah.
kind of help guide in some of the pieces here. So we firmed up this tofu so it's not gonna completely fall apart as we throw it into the pot here. We also have 2 tablespoons of hoisin paste.
Some sweetness.
A little bit of sweetness, again, more soy, adds a ton of flavor. Also got 2 teaspoons of toasted sesame oil. So we're adding this towards the end, adds a lot of good flavor, but it's not something you really wanna cook with. And finally, our browned beef. All right, so I'm gonna very gently stir, get everything mixed together, and we're gonna bring this up to a simmer. It takes 2 to 3 minutes.
And look how firm that tofu is. Soft tofu is really just so delicate that if you look at it wrong, it'll just crumble apart into
That's right.
pieces. But you're actually stirring it here and it's holding its cube shape.
Yep, that's right. And it's really nice because it's still gonna be creamy. It's not gonna be that kind of dried out pieces of extra
Rubber.
firm tofu. Yes. We have one final step. We're gonna mix up our cornstarch slurry. So we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of water and just a tablespoon of cornstarch. It's nice to do it at the very end.
Right, if you do this too far in advance, the cornstarch sinks to the bottom of the bowl and you just have to whisk it all over again.
Yeah, so you might as well just wait, right? Okay, and we're just gonna stir this right in. Plenty hot to gel that cornstarch. So I'm just stirring to kind of distribute that cornstarch slurry throughout, then it's gonna thicken up really nicely in just 2 to 3 minutes. It is time to eat. This smells so good.
It smells delicious.
It's thickened up. You can see it's got that nice gravy there. This is gonna be awesome. You want a big portion, right? I mean,
big.
Big.
If you have to ask.
This is really intensely flavored. We're gonna serve it with rice, but you don't eat like a massive amount of this.
So say you.
And we've got our Sichuan peppercorns, some ground up that we reserved here, and these can just get sprinkled right over the top.
Ooh,
It's gonna
little
get,
fresh tingles.
it's gonna get tingly in here, yeah.
Oh, that smells good.
So good, right?
Oh, I like the kick on the back. Finished with the tingles. I think it's floral, it gets spicy, it gets tingly. It's a very complex combination of flavors. Dan, this is delicious. Well done.
Thank you.
So to make Mapo Tofu at home, make a potent spice paste with broad bean paste, fermented black beans, Szechuan chili powder, and toasted Szechuan peppercorns. Use soft tofu and poach it briefly with chicken broth and scallions before adding it to the pan with the ground beef. And there you have it. From America's Test Kitchen to your kitchen, a terrific recipe for Szechuan braised tofu with beef. You can find this recipe along with all the recipes, tastings, and testings from this season at our website, americastestkitchen.com. Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.